Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope the birds are chirping by you. They sure are going crazy by me. We had a wonderful storm last night and lightning, thunder, rain, all of it. And the birds are very happy today. I think they got a lot of seeds dropped out of the trees and flowers and things. So good morning. I see Terry, Amy, Greg, Brad, Dennis, Michael, welcome, welcome. And as all of you are rolling in, I want to do something new this morning. Why don't you tell me some good news? I think that'll be a really nice way to kick off the day, kick off the weekend. What's some good news that you want to share? A little more exciting than the birds are chirping, although that gets me very excited. So just share what is some good news going on in your neck of the woods. So while you're thinking about some good, inspiring news to share with everybody, let's talk about the topic of the day. How to help your unemployed friends. Now, if you've never been laid off, furloughed, or fired, you don't really know what you don't know. You actually have no idea what someone is going through. And I could start and talk about tactics. I know exactly what people need to do to get hired in a matter of weeks. I do. I've been doing it for 22 years. I've gotten thousands of people hired in a matter of weeks. Here's the deal. When I first started a job club 12 years ago and I started speaking to people in career transition, I'd been a recruiter for 10 years and I thought I knew exactly what they needed. And I do know exactly what they need from how to hit the streets, how to talk to people, how to interview, how to negotiate. I know all that stuff. The problem is I was starting with that. I was starting with the tactical, here's what you got to do. And people weren't doing it. And they'd come back to my job club next week and I'd say, so how did it go? What'd you do last week? And they'd look at me with their eyeballs big and say nothing. And it took me a couple of weeks to realize what the heck was happening. Let me tell you what's happening. Your friends, your neighbors, former coworkers that you really care about who are unemployed right now in a really difficult time, they can't take in your advice about how to get a job unless they can get in a better place emotionally. So mindset, one of the best gifts that you can give to your unemployed friend is to listen, to lean in. Don't run away from them because it's uncomfortable. You know, getting laid off, losing your job is a lot like, losing a loved one, getting a divorce, breaking up with a long-term girlfriend. It's hard. And as people on the other side, you often don't know what to say to them. And so you might sit there politely, sitting on the sidelines, waiting for them to ask for help. I got to tell you, asking for help when you're unemployed is incredibly difficult. And most of your friends aren't going to do it. They don't know how. Let me read something to you from Stephanie Carson. A few years ago, she got laid off and it took her 10 months. I want you to think about that for a minute. No paycheck for 10 months. No paycheck for 40 weeks. If you haven't been through it, you don't understand, but that's where she was. She finally landed a job and she wrote an article and she posted it on LinkedIn and she said, hey guys, I need you to understand something about your friends who are unemployed. Being unemployed is one of the most depressing, demoralizing, exhausting, and painful experiences a person can go through. And when I read that article by her, I said out loud to my computer, yes, it is. Because I remember it was 2001. So 19 years ago, I got laid off from a job I loved. As director of recruiting at a global consulting firm, I had the #1 recruiting team in the company. I loved my job. And I didn't see that layoff coming. And it knocked me flat. And what I said to myself is, this is ridiculous. You're smart, you're talented, you were a phenomenal director of recruiting, you turned around the recruiting organization. And I would say to myself, boom, 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 this is how amazing you are. But on the inside, I felt about 3 feet tall. And reaching out and asking for help was really hard. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in to join me this morning. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for having the desire and after today, the courage to not just sit on the sidelines, stand up and do something to help your friend. And I get it. I know it's hard. And see, the thing of it is, job seekers don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to go get a job. They don't understand how their insecurities and fears are holding them hostage. So they're struggling. And on the other side of the desk, you're standing there caring deeply about them, and you don't have a clue what to do to help them. So today I'm going to share with you my list of, I think it's 12 little things that you can do that will make a big difference. And I got to tell you something. Just one personal introduction to somebody that you know could change their life. Not just get them a job, change their life. It could get them into a career, a company that they love and stay at for the rest of their life. It could simply get them that paycheck that they need to hold on to their apartment or their house. It could do all sorts of things for them. One simple introduction. But that's not the only way that you can help. And I want you to know, I've been on the laid off side, and I've spent 22 years on the hiring side and the helping side. And I know it's tough. So let's talk about it. Before I get into my list of 12 little things you can do to help your unemployed friend, let's share some good news from around the world. All right, here. Terry's daughter had a great, Terry told us earlier in the week that his daughter got a video interview scheduled for a physical therapy fellowship. And she had that video interview and she thinks she aced it. Fantastic. Bruce has decided to go solo. Congratulations. And he's working on his first proposal for his first client. Congratulations, Bruce. I went independent, went out on my own 14 years ago. I have helped thousands and thousands of people for the last 22 years get into freelancing and consulting. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. If you need help with it, head on out to ourbiz.com. We've got a whole program to help consultants. All right. Kim is actually seeing jobs that she's really interested in. That is good news indeed. And she's trying to do LinkedIn to connect with people that can help her. Phenomenal. Kim, hopefully some of those people are listening this morning and are going to understand how to help you more effectively. Good morning, Charlie. And Dennis's son stopped by last night to say hello. And he said, great to see him again. Dennis is talking about his own son. And because of COVID-19, he hasn't seen much of him. And he saw him again last night. Little blessings. Charlie is volunteering. I talked about that on Monday of this week, the power of volunteering for your psyche, for others, for your health, and for your job search. And Charlie's doing it. He participated in a big food collection. And Kim participated in the ladies golf league. Started last night. She played so-so, but that doesn't really matter, does it? What's the biggest thing about golf is walking outside with the birds chirping, exercise with good friends, having a lot of laughs. Fantastic. Janine's mom has been in the hospital several times. Oh, Janine, I took care of my parents for their last 7 years. And I have to tell you, my heart is with you. Whew, that is so difficult watching your parents suffer. I am thrilled to hear that she's feeling better and out of the hospital. All right. Good morning, George. Welcome. So let's get to it. I am going to share my top 12 list of little things you can do that will not only help your friend get a job faster, 55% faster, but it'll help. You just might change their life. It's true. All right, here we go. I'm going to share my list and I want you to share your ideas as well. Number one way to help your unemployed friend. Get off the sidelines. Stop waiting for them to ask for help because they're not going to, they don't know how. Pick up the phone, call them, text them and say, hey, Susan, I saw that your company did a bunch of layoffs. Did you get caught in that? Are you okay? And then what I want you to say, I don't want you to say, how can I help? Because they may not have figured that out yet. One of the hardest things to figure out as a job seeker is how to answer that question. How can I help you? So they might be stuck at go. They might be paralyzed, overwhelmed, and not sure how they need help. So don't say, how can I help? Instead, tell them this. I would really love to help you. What do you think? Anything come to mind? When you say, I would really love to help you, they are going to open up. And all of a sudden, they're going to know that you're not just patting them on the back. See, the problem is a lot of people say, hey, how can I help? And they don't mean it. And if you're talking to anybody that's unemployed for more than a couple of weeks, they've had that experience where somebody smiles and says, oh gosh, how can I help? And they say, oh, wow, I'd love an introduction to somebody inside your company. And then they ghost them, they disappear, and they don't follow through as promised. And so when you say, how can I help? They might even be afraid to tell you. If instead you say to them, I really would love to help you. Is there anything I can do for you today? Wow, huge difference. And that will give them the comfort and the permission to either say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?" Or, you know what? I could really use some help. Now, so that's number one. I'd really love to help. Is there anything I can do for you today? After that, what you can do is say, how are you doing? Do you want to talk about it? So that's number two. Do you want to talk about it? Now, there are a lot of really good-hearted, well-intentioned people who are gainfully employed right now, and they're afraid to say, do you want to talk about it? Because what might come back is going to be really uncomfortable to hear. You might hear something like what Stephanie said. The person who got furloughed, laid off, or fired might say to you, I'm really depressed right now. And I know that's scary, and I know you don't want to deal with it. But if you care about them, take a deep breath and have the courage to deal with it and just let them talk. I got to tell you, half the time, just being able to talk about it in a safe, intimate space is enough to get them standing back up again and going back out. All right. So that's number one. Number two. Number three, just listen. Do not lean in with solutions and have you tried this, especially if you don't know what you're talking about. One of the worst things that can happen to a job seeker is to have somebody who's never hired anybody in their life, they've never been a recruiter, and they start just spewing out a bunch of job hunt advice that they read online from some other person who has no hiring experience. So please resist the urge to fix them. I know you want to, and I know you're trying to help. That's not helpful. So just make sure if you're offering some advice, first of all, you're only doing it after you listened. And second of all, that it's really good advice. Case in point. I've been speaking now for 12 years. I've done over 900 gigs in the last 12 years. I've spoken to groups from chief economists and CEOs to, people who are on a production line. And I teach job search strategies. And I was talking about handwritten cards. So listen, nobody sends handwritten cards anymore, which is why it's such a beautiful thing. You want to stand out from your competition, do something different. I don't care if it's old school, do it. I promise you, I've sat on that hiring side of the desk. We've been down to our final 2 or 3 candidates. All of them were qualified. We'd drive to Fargo in an 8-hour car drive with all of them. We can't decide. Open up that employment folder with resumes, interview notes, and out pops one handwritten card. Who do you think we hired? The person who sent the handwritten card. So I was sharing this story, and a woman in the back jumped out of her chair and she said, you know what? I'm over 50. And my daughter told me that I should not send handwritten cards because it's going to make me look old. And I took a deep breath and I smiled and I said, all right, so is your daughter a hiring manager? No. Is she a recruiter? No. What does your daughter do for a living? Oh, nothing. She's still in college. Oh, okay. So I'm in my 40s. I've interviewed thousands of people for hundreds of companies, but you're going to listen to your 18-year-old daughter? Come on, come on. So just be careful where you go for advice and make sure you don't internalize advice unless you can validate it. All right, please. Number 4, be patient, be understanding. Just be patient and understanding. Number 5, and chip in, guys, I want you to tell me, what have you done that really helped a friend? And if you're a job seeker, and I know we've got some job seekers on here, we've got Bruce who's decided to become a consultant. He's looking for his next project. And job seekers, tell us what has really, really helped you find a job. All right. So number 5, if you say to somebody, I really want to help you, what are you looking for? And they say, I don't know, I just need a paycheck, I'll do anything. Don't give up on them. Don't get frustrated. I understand it's almost impossible to help somebody get a job if you don't know what they want to do. But don't give up on them. Help them figure out what they should be going after. It is mission critical for a job seeker to figure out what job they're going after. Otherwise, they're spinning their wheels and it's like saying, I need to buy a car. And instead of shopping online and limiting and narrowing down the search by, budget, style, and all of that, they say, I need a new car and I need one in the next 2 weeks. So they hop in somebody else's car and go drive around town looking at lots, everything from a Porsche to a Kia. Well, they don't have time and they can't afford to waste their time test driving a Maserati if they only have money for a Kia. And that's what happens in a job search if people have not isolated their target. But you can help. You can help them figure out what they should be going after. Oh my gosh, I've been doing, here at Arbez, we've been doing these free daily live streams for 3 months. I think we've done 55 of them. And I talked about isolating your target. So go to arbez.com, go to the blog, go scroll back and look. I've got all sorts of things to help you isolate your target search. Sit down with them, help them take a look at their favorite job, the job they hated most, and figure out what do you really want to do next? And then help them do that reality check. If they're frozen and overwhelmed and terrified because they don't know where their next meal is coming from, what if you took an hour tonight or over the weekend and did some market research and went to figure out what jobs are they qualified for? What if you introduced them to the tool called jobscan.co, jobscan.co? What if you helped them tighten up their resume, found a job posting that they were interested in, tested their resume against it, helped them rewrite their resume? That's another thing you can do. If you're good with resumes, and I want to be careful here. Listen, if you've never been a hiring manager or a recruiter, you don't really know what a great resume looks like, but you can certainly help them clean up grammatical errors, make it readable. You can certainly help them test their resume against job postings. There are a lot of things that you can do to help them clean up their resume. Another thing you can do to help is if you know a good recruiter or a headhunter, don't just give them that recruiter or headhunter's name. Pick up the phone and call that recruiter or make a personal introduction, all right? If you hear about a job that would be a great fit for them, yes, send that job to them and then go one step further. Go hunting on LinkedIn and Facebook and anywhere else you've got in your database. I mean, for me, I've got a database of like 8,000 people that I've either worked with, sold to, recruited, or hired or met over the last 22 years. I go into my database, I go into LinkedIn, and I try to find somebody inside that company that I can introduce them to. Okay, listen up. If you send a job to somebody and say, hey, I see that ABC company is hiring, this job looks good for you, that's nice. But if they go apply online for that job, they have a 12% chance of getting hired. 12%. If you find a friend on the inside and you introduce them personally to that person on the inside of the company, you'll boost their chances of getting that job to 40%, from 12% to 40%. Now listen to this. If you find somebody inside that company at the director level or above, all of a sudden you're giving them a 92% chance of getting that job. Silk Road Technology, you want to know where I'm not making these numbers up. I've lived it for 22 years on the hiring side of the desk. And I can also tell you, Silk Road Technology did one of the most important studies that I've seen in all my years. They studied 13 million job applications and looked at 300,000 hires. 13 million applicants. 12% got hired by applying online, 40% by referral, and 92% by referral to the director or above. So here's where a lot of helpers get stuck. They don't know how to network. They're really uncomfortable with it. They don't want to say something stupid. They don't want to embarrass themselves. They're busy They're working 60 hours a week. The kid's got a poopy diaper and they think, I don't have time to make a personal introduction for Susan. But you have the power to change Susan's life. And just saying, hey, Susan, call Bob doesn't help her. You know, Bob is getting, if Bob is as well connected as I am, Bob is probably getting between 30 and 50 emails, LinkedIn messages, text messages, Facebook notes every single day of people who are saying, hey, Bob, you should meet Susan. Or worse, getting a note from somebody that says, hey, Tony Baloney told me I should call you. Okay, I don't remember meeting Tony Baloney, and Tony said I should call you. Why? And I'm on the receiving end of that. I've got kids to feed, a family I've got to find money for, and somebody who says Tony Baloney said I should call you, but I don't know Tony Baloney very well, and I don't know why. But instead, I'm staring at 5 other LinkedIn messages from Tony Baloney who say, Kat, how are you? I haven't seen you in 10 years. You know, saw a couple of your live streams. Those are fun. Hey, I'm reaching out today to introduce you to Susan. She and I worked together for 3 years. She's really an incredibly hard worker and smart. She used to freak me out with how quickly she could solve business problems. She's available. She's looking for her next adventure. And I think I saw a job posting at your company. Would you be willing to talk to her for 10 minutes? That is going to change Susan's life, because even if I'm not hiring, but I get that amazing introduction from Tony Baloney, I'm going to drop everything else and get on it immediately. And I'm going to say, hey, Tony, how are those twins? Thanks so much. I'd love to talk to Susan. Reach out to Susan. Susan, you sound like a rock star. I'd love to help. Who can I introduce you to? This is how people get hired. And if you feel like it's too hard, try being unemployed in this market right now. If you don't believe me that it makes a difference and that you could change somebody's life, go ask, try it. Just try it. Go out of your way to make personal introductions for 5 people. Yep, I'm not saying 1, 5. Just do it 5 times and then come back and tell me that it wasn't worth it. All right. Other ways you can help. You can post a recommendation for them on LinkedIn. Hey, endorsements are nice. It's really great when I see somebody's profile and they've been endorsed for something 99 times. That says something, but it doesn't say nearly as much as a handwritten, thoughtful, personal recommendation on LinkedIn. That would be a gift. And I promise you, networking connections and those coveted recruiting and hiring managers are reading recommendations on LinkedIn. They're reading recommendations on LinkedIn before they're reading resumes, all right? Let's see here. If somebody reaches out to you for assistance who you don't know, now this happens to me all day long. Strangers reach out to me and they say, hey, I need a job. Can you introduce me to Tony? And I take a step back and I think, hi, how are you? So listen, I'm spending most of my energy teaching job seekers what to say and how to reach out and ask for help, especially when it's a stranger. Please don't delete them. Please don't click the I don't know button. Please take a deep breath and recognize this person is desperate. They've got a family to feed. They are reading the news. They are overwhelmed and feeling desperate. And they forgot to say good morning. And they forgot to say, hey, we have 73 mutual connections. Please forgive them. Take a deep breath, take a step back and reply to them. And I'm not saying that you should just make an introduction and put your reputation on the line right away. What I'm asking you to do is take a breath and think about what it might be like for that person. Reach out, reply to the stranger and say, hi, Nola, thanks for reaching out. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I'd be happy to introduce you to Serena over here. I just need you to help me make a good introduction for you. Give me a couple of bullet points that I can use to make that introduction. That's what I do. So don't say yes and introduce them right away. Reply back and say, help me make you look good, which is also going to help me make sure that I protect my reputation. Okay. Number 11, do a mock interview with them. What's a mock interview? Practice. Say, hey, Tyrone, you got that interview coming up tomorrow. I got some time tonight. Let's hop on Zoom. Let me help you practice. Do a practice interview with them. Next up, check in on them. If you know somebody's been laid off or furloughed, check in on them. Text them, send them a GIF, send them a clip from a comedian. And then lastly, make them laugh. All right, so that's my list of ways to help your friends. Let me jump on over to your comments and your questions. Janine loves fried bologna. Oh, Janine, fried bologna with a big old mound of mashed potatoes in the center. My elementary school used to make that for us with a couple of green beans stuck on top. I love fried bologna. You can do anything to fried bologna. Cheese, mashed potatoes, I don't care. I'm with you. Look at you guys, to mustard and mayo. So I missed some fun stuff here. Janine had a mock interview with 4 trusted friends. They were brutal, but effective. Listen, nothing is hard about job search. Easy. Nothing is easy about job search, but wouldn't you rather make your mistakes with some friends than with the person that you really want to work for? So Janine, I'm really happy to hear that. So question over here is, how do I know somebody is unemployed? That is a brilliant question. Unless they tell you and they don't, unless you hear about it or unless they tell you, you can't know. But I tell you what, right now, in the middle of this pandemic, and the middle of what's going on around the world right now, the easiest thing for you to do is reach out to people that you haven't talked to in a while and say, hey, how are you doing? How is your family? That's it. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? We haven't talked in a while. And they will probably come back and let you know. So good question. All right, spam. Charlie, I'm not with you on that. So sorry. Yes, I've had spam and pineapple. I love pineapple, not too keen on spam. Oh, Nick wants to know about the woman that posted on LinkedIn. Her name was Stephanie Carson, and she posted it, I think, in 2016. So I don't know if you'll be able to find it on LinkedIn, but it's Stephanie Carson, Carson. And it was a quick and dirty post. She just basically said, hello, everybody. To those of you that helped me during my job search, thank you so much. I landed my dream job. I'm over the moon. To those of you that were afraid to help me, this is my letter to you. What I loved about her letter, and the reason why I saved it because I'm a speaker and I'm always looking for good tips. But it just was so powerful. And she recognized that the people who were bozos, the people who refused to introduce her, the people that ignored her, the people said, oh, hey, I'll introduce you to my CEO friend, and then didn't do it. She was forgiving them. And she recognized that they didn't help her because they didn't know how. And she wanted to change that. So I've actually shared all of her tips with you this morning. All right, so we're coming up here. It's almost the half hour. Oh, you guys, I know that this is hard stuff. I do understand because I'm on the receiving end of desperate job seekers who are downright rude to me. And I think, really? Seriously? You want me to put my reputation on the line for you? And that's what you say to me? I get people who write to me and say, oh my, I need your help. I'm unemployed. You're connected to the CEO at ABC company. I need you to introduce me. And I think, seriously, dude, I don't know you from Adam. I have no idea why you're reaching out to me. Okay, I do. It's because I'm out there so much giving job search advice. But I'm put off. And why should I help you when you're being rude to me? And furthermore, I'm afraid. If I introduce a guy who was rude to me when he was asking for help to my precious network, which, by the way, that's how I feed my family. I am a professional job hunter. As a small business owner, I'm out hunting for my next client every single day. And if I abuse my network and send somebody who's rude and shows up late and doesn't respect the networking thing, that makes me look bad. And it's bitten me in the butt. I get it. I understand. But we all need to stand up and do things differently. We have to. Be a good human. Figure out how to do this stuff. Try one thing, do one thing to help 5 people. in the next 5 days, and you'll get the groove. You'll get the hang of it. All right. So one more minute. What do you guys want to talk about? Janine says that LinkedIn and Career Force have been her saving grace. Yes. The person who greets you in the lobby can add their insights from a few minutes. All right. I missed good stuff. Great, you guys. Doug, we're going to wrap this up with what Doug has to say. Doug has realized 100% that his network is his most important and most valuable, his best asset during the job search. Nothing else comes close. I'm going to wrap it up with those stats again for everybody on both sides of the desk. 12% chance of getting hired when you apply online. 40% if somebody over here is willing to make a personal introduction. Saying drop my name doesn't work. 40% chance of getting hired, and a 92% chance if you're willing to introduce at the director level or above. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Hey, I'll be here on Monday. I hope you have a really nice weekend. I appreciate it, Nivea, Julia, Mary. If you guys like these live streams, please share them with your network. We need you to go out of your way to spread the word and bring other people so that we can help millions of people get back to work faster and easier. Thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy the weather, the birds, the spam, all of it.